Hi, welcome to Projecting Overview Podcast, brought to you by Tolumide. Hope you're all having a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. We were unable to project last week due to other commitments and activities, but today we're bringing to you a very interesting topic, which is what I call, do parents have a favorite? A lot of times when parents are asked these questions, they always come up with the answer, no. And that's because they don't see it that way. They don't see themselves favoring one child over the other. Today we're going to talk deeply into why parents have a favorite child, or should parents even have a favorite child. From what I've gathered, speaking to different parents, or even speaking to some of my friends, or even some of the people that I know, I've come to realize that some parents do have a favorite child. If you as a parent want to really know if you have a favorite child, call all your children together. Just ask them that simple question. Who is my favorite? Or who does mommy or daddy likes more? And before you even know it, they'll give you the answer without blinking an eye. That's because they can see amongst each other. They know. They will even tell you, even amongst themselves, they will be like, mommy likes that more, or daddy favors her more, or daddy favors him more. They know all these things. These are things that they even see amongst themselves. That's why when some children want to ask their parents for things, they do not go directly to their parents and ask them for those things. They know when they go to their parents will either their mom or dad will either come up with an excuse and be like, there's nothing, I don't have it at the moment, maybe later, maybe this and that. And they'll rather send their little brother to go ask mom or ask dad, because they know as soon as they go to dad or they go to mom, dad is going to get that for them. And that's how it works. That's how it literally works. But today we're going to be looking at, should parents even have a favorite child? Or why do some parents have a favorite child? Some parents favor one child over the other due to various circumstances. This could be based around the conception and birth of that child, or even some parents, it might even be the first child. Most especially the first child. The parents have an undivided attention towards the first child and also the last child of the house. We all know that every last child of the house are the baby of the house, so they get whatever they want. If the father of the house is really, really strict towards the first 2, 3, 4 kids, and the last one, you just see like the father just goes easy on that. You just see that the father goes easy on the last child. Why does it all of a sudden go easy on the child? Because it's the last born and he gets what he wants. Last borns always get whatever they want. Well, I know some people might argue with this, but really and truly, we all know all last children are like the babies. I know if you're a last child, sorry, but like we know all lastborn gets special treatment from their parents. And sometimes some parents liking for one child over the other is because of the child's intelligence. Maybe this child is so intelligent, smart, book smart, or he or she causes them less trouble. So because of these, you can see that parents tend to like that child more. And even that's why if they want to send, if they want to send one of the children on errands, the one they know it would never refuse to go will be the one they would always send on errands. And in return, it gets a special treatment in some type of way, like maybe it gets extra pocket money or whatever, you know what I mean? But what I'm trying to say is, like, sometimes this liking is based on that child's character or even his personality. When parents have that liking, especially for the first child being their first child, when other children comes around, they pay less attention to these other ones, like the middle child. The ones in the middle don't really get as much attention as the first and the last child. And that's why we have something called middle child syndrome. A middle child syndrome is the belief that middle children are excluded, ignored, or neglected due to their birth order, which causes some children to have a personality and relationship characteristics. Because the middle child don't get as much attention as the first or the last child, they feel neglected, hence the need for them to crave for attention. That's why most of the time you see that they always want to be like their older brother or their older sister, because they don't get as much attention. For the middle child to compensate for lack of attention, they tend to please a lot of people. They tend to please people. And also, because of the lack of attention, they tend to be rebellious, or even they go to the extreme to get the attention that they need. And that's why you hear things like, why does my older sister get to have this first? Or why does my little brother get to have this first? For example, when parents buy toys for their kids, the oldest one gets to use the toys first, and then it's being passed on to the middle child. It gets to use like used clothes, used shoes of their older brother, or their older sister, and then they get passed on to the middle child. To them, it's like they are a copy of their oldest one, maybe their brother or their older sister. Having said all of this, every child should be loved the same, even though every child is different and have different characteristics or different personalities. They should be loved the same, and the love should be expressed differently based on each child's personality or each child's individuality. Every parent should know and understand where their children's ability lies and their strengths. So in that way, they're able to know where to encourage them. And they should also know their children's weakness. So in that way, they will know how to encourage their children to do better and improve on what they are not good at. In a case where parents base their general assessment of their children on being book smart, it leads to a lot of comparison. For example, if one of the children is book smart and it comes with straight A's from school, and the other kid just doesn't get A's, he hardly attends school, you will see that the love of the parent draws more to the one that is smart. Whereas you need to also understand that if this other child is not really good in academics, what are his strengths? Where does his or her strength lies? He or she could be a good cook, or he or she could be a good model. He or she could be a good innovator. You just never know. Just because their strength don't lie in education, you need to understand where their strength lies, and in that way you're able to develop that. But when you don't see where these other children's abilities and strength lies, you tend to compare all these children with each other, and that's why you start to hear things like, well, you should be like your brother. You shouldn't be like your brother. You shouldn't be like your sister. Be who you are. Understand him and let them understand you too. So in that way, they don't feel like your love is drawn towards one than the other person. Say, for example, when you buy clothes for one of the children, then let the other children understand why you're not buying for them. So in that way, they're not thinking that mommy or daddy loves this person and they love us. Parents should have an open approach in the way they show their love to their children, because in that way it brings about transparency. So the children would know, like, mommy doesn't like this person better than this person. If you're getting the trainers this year, then that means we know, like, the other child is getting the next trainers the next year. But if every year, when, let's say, for example, the first child is Daniel and it's really smart, then David is the second child, the middle child. Every time Daniel does well in school at the end of term, he gets a new trainers or he gets a new clothes. But because David is not really as smart as Daniel, he doesn't get what Daniel gets. But where does David's strength lies? David's strength lies in football. He's really good in sports. Why don't you buy him trainers? Why don't you pay for more of his lessons rather than you just forcing him to really concentrate in education? Back in the day was when we see education as the main goal. Like, yeah, it's good to be educated, but in this day and age, there are many diverse ways in which you can be successful without education, really and truly. Education doesn't necessarily have to be within the four walls of a classroom. You could be educated on the streets. You could be educated in the room. You can be educated anywhere in the world. But my point is that be transparent as a parent to your children in the way you show your love towards them. Because when you don't, this brings about jealousy. This brings about hatred. Moreover, parents should also appreciate their children whenever they've done well, either in school or in sports. Wherever they've done, like, you see that they've done well, appreciate them. Just say, well done. Learn to say one or two, leave one or two comments. Let them know they are being appreciated, because in that way they would know, like, yeah, mommy appreciates me, then I can do this better next time, or dad appreciates me, then I can put more effort into what I'm doing next time. But in a situation where parents, as for example African parents, there's always that saying that, if I say well done now, his head is going to swell. No, let his head swell. He's done it. He deserves it. Then appreciate him. Let him know that he's done well. And in that way, they would know that, David is done well in school and Daniel is done well in sports. Appreciate them differently. Let them know that they've both done well. And that's why I said, in terms of the weakness, parents should also know how to work with their children to improve their weakness. In that way, they can improve. Maybe sometimes it might just involve David having to spare some time teaching Daniel some schoolwork for him to improve academically too. Let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know what you think about this topic. Do you think parents should love their kids equally? Do you think, parents should have a favorite child just because the child is done well in school, or just because that's just the circumstance that surrounds the birth of that child makes them love that child more? Do you also think that this is just not the right way to go? Do you think that parents should express their love to their children equally, or separately, or as individuals? Let us know all of this in our comment section at Projecting Overview Podcast on Instagram, on SoundCloud, on YouTube. And until next time, have a good one.